Good evening, everybody. Welcome to week 7 of the Octane Outlaws second season. We are here at Pocono Raceway for the May Madness 187, and we are about to get qualifying underway in just a moment. A couple of cars gridding up on track. Let's take a look at our race info for today. Just to start us off here, we are looking at a 66-degree afternoon here at Pocono. 45% humidity, 3% or 3 mile an hour wind, 2.5 mile track here, 91 temperature on track. Altitude is at 1866, so a little bit of the mid-range altitude, not too high, not too low. But we do have a couple cars out on track. Let's take a look and see who we got. First, we have, looks like Patrick Mitrovic's getting his lap going. And he had a pretty good performance the last couple weeks. Had a pretty good performance at Road America. But the week before, finished, I want to say, in the top 5. We have 14 drivers today, ranging anywhere from 656 IR to 3,200 in the likes of Martin Roberg and Noah Miller. Martin winning the Road America road race we had last week, and Noah Miller coming in close behind. Noah's had a couple wins. Roberg's had a couple wins. Blowers has had a couple wins as well. Mitrovic's we can see going around the track here. And keep that high line. Keep speed up as best we can. Pocono is a tricky one though. Being in triangle, it is not just to put your foot down and go. It is a little bit trickier on the side of having to, you know, kind of come into the corners, you know, in hitting an apex, almost like a road course. Mitrovic's on top right now with a 54.5, but that is quickly eaten up by Greg Pillar. 53.99 for him, half second off is Mitrovic's. George Buck is a couple tenths off. Rogers, we see a 1.1 seconds off. Roberg setting fastest at 53.19. The closest behind him is Pillar, and Miller actually gets a better lap. As we're watching Greg Pillar, Noah Miller goes up to the first spot. Let's watch Noah. He's in that number 8 Lenovo machine. Ooh, just touching the wall ever so slightly, and yeah, he's gonna pull off and try and get a restart on his lap, see if he can't get a better run. Roberg, though, is coming out of his turn here. As we see, he should be coming to our start-finish straight. We'll see if he can improve. Only 7/100ths off of Miller. And Roberg does improve, but Blowers at the same moment improves just a little bit more. 2 tenths back is Roberg and Miller at this point. Tommy Thompson, let's see what he's got coming to the finish line here. And Thompson goes back to 7 tenths back. Corey Buchanan came across as well. Buchanan is sitting in 7th. Full second. 1.2 seconds back from the leaders. These leaders, they really have Pocono down, it would seem. Flowers touching the wall coming into his turn. You want to get close to the wall, as close as you can, but you don't want to be bumping the wall too much. A, causing damage, and B, slowing your car down. He's going to be coming into the pits. Trevor Benz in the number 3 Quaker State machine here. Benz is yet to set a lap. This will be his first flying lap. And he, not too far back off the leaders, 7 tenths. Let's see what his second flying lap will produce for him here. Jason Heaney is also out on track. Like he's coming to his first flying lap. We'll jump between Binns and Heaney right now. Looks like Heaney is just getting his first flying lap underway. We are 5 minutes into qualifying. Should have another 5 minutes left. There goes Binns down the back straight. Here he comes. See what he can produce for a good lap time. There he goes down the front straight, and Binns improves, but does not improve position. Better lap time, but those top three are going to be really hard to hang on to. Jason Heaney coming to the home stretch here. Let's see what Heaney has for his first flying lap. And Heaney goes fourth, fastest overall, a little bit quicker than Binns. Heaney in the number 9 Napa Auto. Looking like he's going to have a fairly good lap. He's got one more flyer. Going to check in on Daniel Butler as well. He is driving around the track. Looks like he is going to be putting down his first flyer here in just a moment. Heaney coming around. Ooh, a little loose on that edge. And he comes across the backstretch here. And we do have some new camera angles for the regulars out there. We have new camera angles. They're more NASCAR style. As Heaney does improve, but does not improve position. He is only 0.2 off of Blowers, a quarter of a second closer. And we'll see Danny Butler in the Tide machine. Trevor, Jason, Daniel from Ben. Ooh, he's got a shiny Tide machine. Got a little bit of metallic flare on the side there. That's pretty neat. But he's coming around. And there he goes. That backstretch. This is such a long track, 2.5 miles. I mean, it's quite the track. We're going to be going 75 laps here, so these drivers are just trying to get, you know, it's a long race. Settled in. Stages at lap 18 and lap 40. So, well, where it's not going to be, you know, that short of a run at the end. We're going to have a pretty long run at the end. Going 75 laps. We'll have a 35 lap run. And where does Butler end up? He stays in 7th. Butler almost a second back, but as of right now, that is going to be our starting lineup. We have Bobby Blowers out front, Martin Roberg in 2nd, Noah Miller in 3rd, Jason Heaney in 4th, Trevor Binns in 5th, Tommy Thompson in 6th, Danny Butler in 7th, Greg Pillar in 8th, George Buck in 9th, Corey Buchanan 10th, David Guimont in 11th, Curtis Rogers in 12th, Patrick Mitrovic in 13th. Raymond Mull Sr. has not put down a lap, but he might have an EOL and just, you know, hasn't had a chance to get out on track. But that will be our 14 starting lineup for this evening here in the Octane Outlaws. Once again, we will have 75 laps going on here. Stages at 18 and 40 for anybody who missed it. And as soon as the system gives it to me, I will put up our results. We are only 20 seconds away from the action. We'll be getting going one pacing lap, and then we will be going live. Bobby Blowers will have the green flag for us once we do get going. Qualifying coming to an end here. 15 seconds left. And what a scorching lap there by Blowers. 52.89. 2/10 clear of second place, Martin Roberg there. And Roberg, you know, he's been pretty dominant. He's had quite a few wins here. Miller as well, pretty dominant. So it's quite a shock, I guess you could say, to see those two drivers a little farther back. But here we go, results for qualifying. All right, we got Bobby Blowers. Actually, we'll do our grid view instead. We'll do our grid view instead. All right, grid. Bobby Blowers up there in first. Martin Roberg in second. Noah Miller in third. Jason Heaney in fourth. Trevor Binns in fifth. Sorry. Number 3 machine, Trevor Binns in fifth. Tommy Thompson in sixth. Danny Butler in seventh. Greg Pillar in eighth. George Buck in ninth. Corey Buchanan in 10th. We have David Guimont in 11th. Curtis Rogers in 12th. Patrick Mitrovic in 13th. Raymond Mull Sr. in 14th. And that's going to do it for our starting lineup. Let's see if we have drivers out on track. I believe we do. So let's get to them. But we're all here to see. Drivers all lined up. We'll move that out of the way. Have our top ticker instead. Blowers leading us. A new livery there for Blowers in number 34. Jump on board with him. Right over the shoulder there. Gonna be trying to get those tires a little bit warmer. And there he is in his, excuse me for my color blindness, his orange livery. There's a neat looking helmet there, orange and yellowy from the looks of it. Being colorblind is terrible. I wouldn't recommend it. But he is going to be our man leading us to the green flag. And you can see new camera angles, like I said. Gearbox here. Ooh, he's blinking a little bit. See the rest of the field. Not too many people trying to get their tires warm. They're just hanging out. Noah Miller always does this. He always goes down low into that kind of unwanted area on the apron. Maybe picking up a little extra rubber there with some marbles from the earlier practice session. But we are coming to the green flag in just a moment. Pace car rounding. I might actually do the track map. If we're starting to get a little confused as to where we're at, since we got, you know, 3 turns, then I might do that. But Blowers coming up to the start finish straight. Here he is, Blowers, into the Geico start zone. Green. And we are green. Blowers gets an okay jump, but it looks like Roberg on the outside got a better jump, but Roberg is a full car length behind. Miller sticks right on the bumper of Blowers as they go into turn 1, and we are underway here at Pocono. Miller trying to take that inside line. Roberg thinking about switching, and he does. Roberg goes down to the inside there. Roberg and Miller side by side. We'll see how these drivers kind of file into place. Some might you know, just want to do that single file line, but Tommy Thompson, he's looking to make moves early. Thompson is up 1 position already. Mitrovic in the back here is up 2 spots, but he is looking to you know, improve on his times. Mitrovic, I heard, didn't get a ton of practice in today, but he you know, one of our more skilled drivers. He should find his way up to the front by the end of this one. You see Blowers taking that high line. Ooh, as he touches the wall pretty heavily. Blowers bumping the wall. We don't want to see that too often. Here they come. Miller making a move there on Roberg. And these second and third place drivers might be fighting it out for the duration of the race. They swapped the inside to outside, outside to inside a couple times now, and it seems like that outside line is doing just as well as the inside line. So it'd probably be beneficial just to follow Blowers, you know, keep those tires fresh, and just, you know, run for that longer run on the tires. Where first stage is 18 laps. Whoa, and we have, looks like Tommy Thompson touching the wall there, getting a little squirrely. Trevor Binns right behind him, hanging in there, going down low. Binns is going to try and get a move done. Thompson goes way wide. Not sure if that was planned. Thompson, ooh, almost into the wall again. Had to let up just ever so slightly. But Thompson right now is he's struggling there for a couple laps. But we're going to jump back to Patrick Mitrovic here. As you see, he is kind of in no man's land, but he is up 4 spots from where he started. David Guimont is up 1 spot, and Curtis Rogers is up 1 spot. And Corey Buchanan in the pit lane. Not sure what happened to Corey. It looks like George Buck had an incident. Let's see what happened to George here. We'll go full speed. George, ooh, Corey gets into George, but that's only 2 cars. That's why Corey's in the pits. And we have our stewarding system. With it being such a big track, they're probably just letting it go just because there's really nothing going on other than just those 2 cars. So Corey will have to wait for that first stage to get caught back up. But we do have Roberg has made his way up to Bobby Blowers here, side by side with him. Looks like Roberg is on that inside line burning those tires up. Blowers is going to, you know, stick to his strategy, stick on that outside line. Miller and Heaney. Miller looks like he just got a little bump from Heaney there. And yeah, Miller, you know, just dropping back ever so slightly, and we have Roberg and Blowers fighting, first and second fighting, second and third fighting. I don't think there are any other super close fights like this going on. We do have a couple drivers a little farther back, but we'll stick with our leaders here. Roberg gets this lap completed out in front, and Blowers just hanging in there with them, kind of being forced down to that inside line. But you know, if these guys are going side by side, being a little bit more cautious, bumping the wall like Roberg just did there, they're gonna have a hard time with these, you know, other drivers, Miller and Heaney, trying to catch up with them. Heaney right there with the top 2 drivers now. Heaney doing a good job to get a run here on Martin Roberg, and he's going to be down the inside of Roberg going into turn number 2. Roberg has that speed coming out of the corner. Heaney has that little bit less to go, and they come down into the straightaway. You get a pretty good draft here at Pocono down the straights, just because it is such a long track. The corners, you know, a little tighter than a normal NASCAR corner, especially when you're going, you know, so fast into the corners from these straightaways. And especially with there being 3, it does throw a little bit of a wrench in the system when it comes to, you know, just the typical turn left on a super speedway, and just foot down. You have to have a little bit of braking and a little bit of you know, corner entry thought going into it. You just don't put the foot down and go. But it's looking like Blowers, you know, keeping his lead. Roberg keeping in second. Heaney's up 1 spot. Noah Miller is down 1 spot. But these 4 drivers, you know, keeping with each other. Trevor Binns having a little bit of a harder time keeping up with the pack. We have Greg Pillar and Danny Butler. Got a couple pairs. Tommy Thompson and Patrick Mitrovic. Patrick looking to get up 1 more spot here, and that would make it a handful of spots. He is running pretty good laps. And you see Mitrovic gets past Tommy. Tommy's been having a hard time when people come up alongside him. He gets a little bit squirrely. Not sure if, he's got a little bit of a hard setup. Single monitor, something like that. I know it makes it really hard to see your opposition when you are on a single monitor. Even with, controls to look left and right, it does make it a hard time. I myself race in VR, and VR is very nice just to give it a little glance over to the left or a glance over to the right, see where you're at, see where the wall's at. So Tommy might have a hard time seeing who's around him, so he gets a little overly cautious. We'll have to ask Tommy next time we talk to him and get the scoop on that. But Flowers and Roberg still real tight here. Roberg is right on his bumper again. Number 34 and 41. Been going at it all season so far. And they have not disappointed on action. Oh, as Roberg gets a little squirrely there. That was almost disaster there for Martin Roberg. He lost his rear end. I know we get one fast repair in these races, but Roberg, those rears got to be cooked at this point. Heaney's going to have an easier time passing him than he would have just a lap ago. At the May Madness 187, we are 10 laps into the 75 lap race. We will be having a competition caution stage, we'll call it, at lap 18. Another stage at lap 40. And those are our two stages for today. 75 total laps. So after our second stage, we're going to have drivers go another 35 laps. It ends up being around 32 laps, really, which should be about 2 tanks of fuel. We'll see if anybody has to come in for fuel before this first stage. If not, we can kind of base our fuel calculations off of the stage being 18 laps. And in doing so, that would put 75 laps just a little bit out of reach for these drivers. But we do have about 6 laps of that being under caution. So we'll see who can fuel save here at the end, who can fuel save towards the end of the second stage, and who's going to be able to come out on top in this one. We saw Roberg finish a lap ahead of everybody in the field. And that is really saying something, because Blowers, Roberg, Heaney, Miller, Binns, they've all been really close this whole season. And for Roberg to finish a full lap ahead, I mean, we're still talking about it, in Discord, and obviously I'm talking about it still here in the chat, but you see a little bit of a wall touch there by Blowers. But yeah, a full lap on the whole field, just because he had a crazy fuel saving method of throwing it into neutral, going into the corners, and coasting through the corners. I forget where we were. It might have been Martinsville. Let's check here. I think it was Martinsville or it was Dover that he did this, and it was, an incredible sight to see. We are, seeing him having to use all of his fuel now because he has Jason Heaney right on the rear end. Let's see if we can't get a nice roll bar view. Here's Jason Heaney running down Martin Roberg here. And we're starting to see Noah Miller fall back. He is 1.5 seconds back now from Heaney and Roberg and Blowers. Noah Miller starting to fall off this group of leaders here. Love the sound of these cars as we come 1, 2, 3 across the back stretch here. And yeah, I might turn our track map on just so we can start seeing what turn we're in. Let me see if I can't get that programmed in while we're sitting here talking. But these drivers sticking really close. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, bumper to bumper to bumper. And let's see if we have anybody else making any moves or making things happen. Mitrovic's up 5 spots from where he started in that number 4 machine. And the number 7 to Tommy Thompson, just, you know, 3/4 of a second behind. Curtis Rogers is right on the bumper of David Guimont here. But Bobby Blauer is leading. The only switch up that we have immediately up front is Jason Heaney's in 3rd. Noah Miller has dropped down into 4th. Miller having a hard time keeping up with these drivers now. And we see Heaney holding that low line. Blauer's still hanging on to that top line. Everybody goes a different direction as they come into the corner. We see Blauer stays high. We have Heaney and Broberg going low. And then they all kind of converge back up on the straightaway. It's a really cool sight to see here. Lap 15 coming to an end here. As you see on the wall there. What turn 4? They don't have a turn 4. Only 3 turns here at Pocono. As we throw our track map up there, we'll try and get a nice view where it's not in the way, because that is in an obnoxious spot right now. You see, those are the car numbers. You see Blauer's here in a number 34. They are approaching George Buck along this 2nd straight. Coming into turn 3. That is in a pretty obnoxious spot, so we will pop that off of there. This will be our last lap of green flag racing. These drivers will punch back up for the stage at lap 18. And right now, Blauer's still holding, doing a really good job of keeping that car and those tires alive. Coming to turn 2, approaching the short straightaway here. And into turn 3, George Buck is going to stay right where he's at. Which is on the main lap, it looks like.
Yellow flag is out.
Yellow flag out here. As you hear the report there from the steward. Car slowing down. Pace car coming out. And we will see some pits and some strategy. Buchanan down a lap. He might not have to pit again for fuel. He might need some tires, however. But Buchanan, you know, a lap down, it's not a fun thing to go a lap down, but he might be able to get himself unlapped here depending on where he is on the track. Here he comes. He's coming up to the back of the pack here in just a moment. So when everybody dives down into the pits, you're going to see Buchanan's 1 lap down. Mull shows as out. So yeah, it looks like Raymond Mull is no longer racing with us tonight. He must have had a bad wreck somewhere along the lines. George Buck, it just only shows George Buck and Corey Buchanan's little get together here. But that's it. Yeah, we'll show it one more time. This was George Buck, Corey Buchanan. Corey just getting into the rear quarter panel there of George Buck. And George, it almost looked like he was having some kind of a moment there. Let's see. One more go. You can see, yep. Buck just getting turned there. That's Buchanan just getting into his quarter panel a little bit, and probably just tracking up a little bit on the track, but that's okay. They will keep themselves going. Gonna go back to live as we do have some of our leaders pitting here. See Bobby Blowers up in front. He is actually going to be laid out of the pit stop, and Roberg's going to beat him by about a full second. Heaney is in second right now. I'm not sure if he beat him out of the pits. A little bit of mixing up. Noah Miller in fifth now. Binns has a faster stop than Miller. Butler is up a spot. Pillar up a spot. Mitrovic's... Yeah, wow. See if we can't see our big gainers and losers. And right now, you see Roberg up a spot, Heaney up 2 spots, Blowers down 2 spots. And I said, not sure if Heaney got out of the pit lane right before Blowers did. Let's go back and see. Rogers left the pits. Heaney left the pits. As we see it here, let's see if we can't get a different side. You can see Heaney getting moving there. And it's going to be pretty close between Heaney and Blowers. But yeah, that's close. As we have no lights on the pace car, so we're going to be going green here in just a moment. Sitting on Patrick Mitrovic's farther back. He's our big winner as of right now. 5 spots up from where he started in 13th. He is in 12th, or he is in 8th right now. Roberg's going to have the start. And some of these drivers are just trying to get those new cold tires up the temperature. Doesn't really work too much when, you know, you're going at these slow speeds under the pace car. You're really more so, if anything, especially at a track where you need to do a little bit of trail braking, you want to get those brakes up to temp. But most of these drivers at this point, these brakes are scorching hot. It'll be a good thing to cool them down, get them a little bit more regulated. See that number 41. Roberg Designs on the side. Looks like Martin does his own paints, it would seem. Lap 20. You're going to be getting going here. Here's somebody cruising along. George Buck. Catching up at the field. And we have pace car in. Roberg is green, and Blowers had a little bit of a blink that might have thrown Miller off, but Blowers with a huge blink right as the cars were going green here. Roberg still in first, but Blowers is right there on his tail. Heaney right there as well, and Binns surprisingly pushing his way up into that 4th place spot. Right alongside Noah Miller. Noah Miller, you know, it's surprising he's not leading this race, I guess I'll say. He's, you know, used to being right up front there. And he's not doing too bad of a job. Oh, and we do have a little bit of a get-together here.
Yellow flag is out.
And we're going to have a yellow flag. Cars stopped on the side of the road here. And that is Miller and Binns. You know, maybe a little bit of the commentator's curse there. Didn't want to do it to him, but yeah, we're going to get back on track here. Have a couple more caution laps. Let's see what happens in a little bit of a replay. We saw it there. Looking used to these new camera angles that I got here, so bear with me. Gonna be going down to Trevor Binns crash. Here we go. There's actually no Miller that got into Binns. We'll do full speed. A little bit of a bump there. Miller just can't do anything to get off him. Binns trying to, steer away, but they're just stuck. Binns trying to get away, Miller trying to get going again, and there we go. Miller's moving the right direction. Got a little bit of damage, so they're definitely gonna have to come into the pits there. So he gets going. You see Miller right here. Just gets a better run. It's probably just a little bit of, just like an inch of net code maybe, but yeah, I think the contact would have happened either way. Miller just bumps him the tiniest bit. You might have been thinking that Binns was going to try and trail a little bit farther outside, but that is, just the way it happens sometimes. Binns catching back up to the field. Like Noah Miller is into the pits. Binns did not pit, I don't think. Not sure if we'll be able to see him on the pit strategy. No, we will not. Nobody else coming into the pit lane. Noah Miller in. Oh, Binns is back behind Miller quite a bit. I thought he was catching up to the field. Looks like Binns will pit. Both having slight amounts of damage. Miller gonna have, the big jump on him. Buchanan's up a spot, though. He's back to where he started in 10th place, so that's a good reset there for Corey Buchanan. Getting himself back up into 10th place with that lucky dog position. But not only that, getting by George Buck in the process. He has got Noah Miller and Trevor Binns that helped him gain a couple spots there. But Noah going to have a little bit of work to do to get back up to the front. Like I said, he's normally up in that front just a little bit. And he's just touching that wall ever so slightly, but yeah, he's normally up front in those top 2-3 drivers every single race. So caution coming out for his incident. It's gonna hurt him, gonna make for a hard time getting by these drivers. Being Pocono, 3 turns, a little bit different of a strategy than you would normally have at most tracks. There's of course the low line and the high line. You want to try and take that high line, save your tires as much as you can. Keep that high speed out of the corners. But there's the alternate route. Burn those tires off. You're not going to use them again, so burn them off. Get a new set at the caution or at the stage cautions, which we've hit our first stage caution, and we are going to be hitting our second at lap 40, so everybody should be able to get close to their stage 2 without having to pit, especially with this caution. That's going to help a lot of people out going a little bit further. We'll see if anybody is saving TV. Or saving TV. I'm reading and saying what I'm reading here, guys. Looking at my cameras. I'm looking at TV1 camera, but saving their fuel. And we see Martin Roberg here. You can hear it. Yep, Roberg's doing it. Let's go inside of his cockpit. Martin Roberg. You can hear his car spool up and then goes dead there. He's hitting that clutch. He's trying to save as much fuel as possible, so he does not have to pit. We'll see if that plays into his hands and you know, helps him with that strategy of save fuel. We've seen him do it once before, finished a whole lap ahead of everybody else. They mentioned it earlier, so see if he can't pull something along those lines out again. For anybody just joining us, we are here at Pocono for the Octane Outlaws, the May Madness 187, going 75 laps here. We have Martin Roberg out front, followed by Bobby Blowers and Jason Heaney. Patrick Mitrovic's in the number 4 machine. I must have missed how Patrick got up into the number 4 spot. Maybe a great pit stop, but
Green, green, green.
we're going to see them go green and watch Mitrovic's try and hang on to the back of these cars up front. We have a good jump from Roberg. Blowers has been the king of staying up high. We come into turn number 1, and yeah, Blowers staying high, touching the wall. Blowers again. See if we can't get a one of our new camera angles here. Dynamic TV. It's kind of like a chopper view. It'll follow the cars around here, almost like a drone at some points too. We see just a little bump from Blowers. And Blowers gives that little bit of a bump going into the corner. Might overdrive Roberg into the corner. Roberg stays wide and is able to hold on to it. But Blowers gave him that little bump, and now Roberg's actually able to put a little bit of gap in between them. We're going to do a quick little break where we do a crank it up. We're going to turn that volume up. Let's go, guys. I love hearing these cars fly by like that. That is such a fun time. We are on the number 4 car of Patrick Mitrovic's right now. And he is actually pulling away from Daniel Butler, Greg Pillar, Noah Miller. Noah Miller getting through a little bit of the field. He was down in I think 12th, but Trevor Bin's coming with him. Him and Noah Miller are making their way through the field. They're quicker, obviously, being you know, being up front when they had their little incident. Roberg, Blowers, and Heaney, they are going to be looking just to, you know, stay up front, keep their position when they go into the last bit of this race. Patrick Mitrovic's leading the second pack with Daniel Butler, Noah Miller, Greg Pillar right behind him. And Noah gets ahead in that number 8 machine, the Lenovo Chevy. And he's going to be closing the gap really quickly, Daniel Butler. Let's take a look. We'll jump on board here. You can see Butler on the rear end of Mitrovic's, but Miller just making it stick here. Really making it sick. He is a great run here. Let's see if he can do a 2 for 1. He does not on this turn. He's going to be on the exit. Not sure if he's going to be able to split these two. Miller just hitting the wall right here. Mitrovic and Butler. Ooh, just a little close there. Mitrovic just tapping the back end of Butler just ever so slightly. Maybe even a little bit of net code, but here we go. Miller really pushing here. Go inside the helmet cam here of Noah Miller as they are going to go 3 wide, it looks like. Nope, he got by Mitrovic. Mitrovic slowing down a little bit. Miller taking that outside line. He's going to have to start conserving some tires if he's going to get past. He really just has to get past Daniel Butler, and then he'll be back up into 4th spot where he was when he got into his wreck. But getting by Butler would be a huge feat. Oh no, Miller. He's pushing it. He's pushing it really hard, that car. He's, you know, running some great laps, but, you know, you can't do that the entire race. Your tires are going to heat up. You're going to lose that rear end. You push it too hard, get on throttle too early, that rear's going to, you know, just kick out on you, and he got so close. Looks like Benz and Mitrovic are going at it as well now. Trevor Benz gets caught up. And Butler a little bit ahead. Mitrovic's hanging in there. Mitrovic, I think, burnt his tires off a little quick. At least heated them up. He was doing so great at, you know, keeping a lot of these drivers at bay, and then he's just starting to lose a little bit of time. So that is consistent with just burning those tires up. You know, just doing the low line, just running the tires really heavy into almost a graining effect. You want to get those tires warm before you push them. If you push them too early, they'll grain. If you start heating them up and overheating them, you lose a lot of grip. You want to gradually get those tires up to a nice consistent temperature all the way across. Second on our leaders, Blowers. Still taking that high line. 1, 2, 3 here still. Blowers, Roberg, and Jason Heaney. Drivers doing a great job of keeping themselves out of trouble. They're just running, you know, together in this little group here. None of them on a team, surprisingly. They work very well as a team. They're pushing each other very well. But, you know, it's gonna all come down to the end, and it's just gonna be who's gonna be in this pack at the end that has the ability to make the move. Right now, they're just, you know, getting to that point, to the end. And you want to be in that final pack when we do a green, we hope a green pit stop. We don't want to see a yellow pit stop, but a green pit stop is what it's looking like as of right now. And a green flag pit stop can, you know, it can really change the dynamic of a race. Some people are going to be really good at coming into the pit lane, especially off these corners. I mean, it's a short run up to the pit lane on the left side after you come out of the corner. So if you haven't practiced it, it's going to be hard to determine, when do I come into the pits? When do I got to start braking? These cars don't have a ton of braking power. They're, you know, meant to just put the foot down and go. So when you're set up to do that, you see Ben's coming down on the inside here of Danny Butler. When you're set up to do that and you're not set up to slam on the brakes, then it's gonna make for a hard time getting your car stopped going into pit lane. So practicing that on cold tires, practicing that on worn old tires, that's something that not a lot of drivers will do. We'll practice it on some nice new tires with a full tank of fuel, but with no fuel to, you know, put some weight onto the wheels and help your car slow down, it makes a different, you know, for a whole different animal. But we're seeing the sun starting to go down a little bit. Let's see if we can't pop up our weather here. Looking like 85-degree track temp. So our track temp has gone down about 15 degrees from when we started qualifying. And that is, 15 degrees is nothing to shake your head at. That can, increase your lap by about a half a second lap time. Ooh, and we see Roberg just barely touching the wall. And we'll watch these guys now coming down. Trevor Binns gets ahead of Daniel Butler. Mitrovic's working on Butler right now. That Tide, I say the Tide machine. You think I might be talking about a washer dryer. But Daniel Butler in the number 33 Tide machine is, gonna be fighting Patrick. Him and Patrick are very similar on pace. Mitrovic's coming down to the inside. They're gonna swap positions there. One goes high, one goes low, and then they swap during the middle of the corner. One goes low, one goes high. Let's see who can hang on. But Mitrovic's up 7 spots from where he started. Doing a great job of keeping himself within contention here. Noah Miller still working his way back up. He, is having to work with those really, really hot tires coming out of a slide that he had to catch down the main straight when he was catching up to Daniel Butler and Patrick Mitrovic's. He'd been by Mitrovic's trying to get by Butler, and he just pushed that car a little too far. And another comeback here. Corey Buchanan, number 19 machine. Number 19 Ford of Corey. He, he had a little bit of a wreck with George Buck early on. I believe that was within our first 5 laps. That wreck really set him back, but he is running, pretty good race. He's back in contention. He's on the main lap. He's made up a couple spots. He's up 1 position from where he started. And he's just going to have to hang in there, wait for the second stage, which will be at lap 40 in just a few laps here. And once he gets that stage reset, he's going to be, raring and ready to go to push to the end here on a new, fresh reset of his race. See, Blauer's getting a little bit of a gap here. Roberg and Heaney essentially just fighting for who's going to start on the front line for the second stage. And Binns looking like he's going to start on the outside line unless Butler can do anything about it. Mitrovic's going way high, keeping that speed up, it looks like. Right now, nobody's really side by side except for our leaders. And Greg Pillar trying to push his way up behind Mitrovic's. And Pillar in that very shiny metallic number 39 machine. I really enjoy the metallic spec maps on cars. They really add a lot of character, a lot of depth. Using it as a little bit of an accent. You see he has it on the blue, a nice shiny red, and then a metallic chrome blue that just makes it stand out. It's really cool. Great job, Greg, whoever did your paint. Great job for them. And Greg he's making up ground there on Patrick. We're gonna see a little bit of a fight here coming up to the final portions of the lap. We're on lap number 39. Once we hit the end of this lap, though, we're going to be cutting into stage number 2. Right now, here comes Bobby Blowers across the line, and we should see our stage pop. Boom, there it is. Yellow flag is out. See how our cars are shaping up here. That pace car, Tokyo drifting around. I find it funny how on rails the pace car is sometimes. This makes me laugh. But we do have Bobby Blowers still leading. Qualified pole sitting in first right now at the end of the second stage. Martin Roberg in second. Jason Heaney in third. He's up a spot from where he started. Ben's up a spot from where he started in fourth. Daniel Butler's up 2 spots. Mitrovic is up 7 spots. Pillar is up 1 spot. So great start here for a few drivers. Some not so lucky drivers in Noah Miller getting into a wreck earlier. Tommy Thompson dropping down 4 positions. George Buck dropping down 4 positions. But, you know, Corey Buchanan doing a good job of recovering from his little bit of a get together with George Buck that he had. He is up 1 spot from where he started. So great job, Corey. You get yourself going in the right direction. Right now, Blowers leads us down pit lane. Let's see how he does in getting himself back out on track in first position. Here we come down into the pits. Oh, he goes by his pit box. Bobby Blowers goes by his pit box. You see he's getting fuel and tires. He blew by his pit box. And out comes Pillar. Pillar is out before anybody. Or Bins, not Pillar. And wow, we have a little bit of a shakeup here. Bins out in front. That's going to prove to be a little tricky for some of these drivers. Bins out front. Looks like he took 2 tires. Daniel Butler jumps a little bit. Looks like he took 2 tires. Blowers blew by his pit box and had to reset. Still comes out first. But let's see. I'm going to double check that Trevor Bins only took 2. Let's see. I'm trying to get a good spot to have this. There we go. So we'll do this. We'll go full speed. This is Bins. Let's see what he does. Big break right there. See the cones, tell him to go over to the left. Here he comes down into pit lane. Oh, he blew by his pit stop too. Oh, he only took left tires. Blinks a tiny bit. He only took left tires. That is such a weird thing to do. Let's see what Daniel Butler did. Daniel Butler also jumped up into second. Almost rear ends. I'm gonna make sure nobody got any black flags. We can see here Butler gets a good stop. Right tires. Wow, Butler got 2 sets of tires. Butler's on good tires. Butler just had an amazing pit stop. No, he didn't blow by his pit stop. Everybody seemed to. But he's going to start side by side with Trevor Bins. Bins, who only has inner tires rotated. He didn't get his right tires swapped like you would think. That's where all your tire wear is on that outside tire. Now, front right. And that rear right, mostly the front right, are what you want. But we're going to have Trevor Bins leading us to the green flag here in just a moment. He'll have the run. Butler, I can only imagine, is going to get a better jump.
Green flag, green flag.
Bins gets the jump. He gets a really good jump. Wow. Jumps to the outside. And Butler didn't get a really good jump. We're probably going to have Jason Heaney on the inside of him there. But Butler, once again, he still has 4 tires that he swapped, so that is a good sign for him. He's going to need to make those tires last all the way to the end, though. That's the only bad thing. Ben's really slow. Ooh, and there we go.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
We have a couple drivers getting into it in the back there, we saw. Let's see what happens. Looks like Patrick Mitrovic's there. Let's see what happens. Patrick Mitrovic's. It's like, oh, he just loses it a little bit. Gets down onto the apron. Oh, loses it a little more. And then, yeah, number 32 gets into him. He just bumps the wall. Yellow is thrown, and that's unfortunate for Mitrovic. He's doing so well. See what drivers do for strategy here, though. If anybody comes in, gets more tires, you know, tops off of fuel, we'll see what anybody does. We do have Bobby Blowers getting up into first. That's where he started. Excuse me, I'm going to take a sip there. Throat's getting a little bit dry commentating tonight. A lot of action going on, a lot of talking. So we have Bobby Blowers gets back up into first. We have Trevor Binns in second. Daniel Butler in third now. Butler, not a great start to this this third stage, I guess you call it. End of the second stage, coming into the third. Daniel Butler had the tires, just didn't get a great run. Blowers had the tires, didn't get a great run, or got a great run. Binns didn't have the tires, was unable to get a good run, even as the leader, determining when they were going to be going. But let's see. Anybody? Everybody's staying out. Mitrovic even stays out, even after getting into it with another car. He's just going to stay out, you know, with the field. Let's see. I'm not sure if he has any damage. Let's see if we can't find some damage on him. I'm looking here from the roll bar camera. Don't see anything. One of the cameras on the outside of his car. Do not see anything. See that Octane Outlaws logo right there, though. Looks like his wheel well's doing okay. Front bumper's not bent in. Go to the other side, right front suspension. Looks like he might have a tiny bit of damage on that right side, but not a whole lot. And if we look at his left rear, doesn't look like he has damage on the rear. And then his right rear, doesn't look like he has damage on that right rear either. So Mitrovic, oh, maybe, yeah, right on that front right. He has a little bit of damage on that front right bumper. Hopefully it doesn't slow him down too much. You see both these cars that got together, Curtis Rogers and Patrick Mitrovic, both painted by Patrick. The PMP graphics, see there on the side of their car. And they have been running fairly well, this group of drivers. We see not a very busy pit lane down there right now. Looks like everybody's just going to hang out. You can see the number 4 Number 4 and number 32 doing a little bit of bumping back and forth. Some scratching on the side panel. Yeah, you can see that front right just a little kicked in. Not a whole lot, but it'll affect the aerodynamics just ever so slightly. You see another PMP graphics there in Tommy Thompson. The 7, the 4, and the 32, all PMP graphics, painted by Patrick Mitrovic. We'll be going green this next time by. Blowers has the jump this time. He got all 4 tires at the pit stop. Binns had, as we had seen, only gotten 2. He's still up there in second, but Butler has all 4. I can only imagine the other ones. We didn't check everybody else, but we can only imagine Miller, Heaney, Roberg, Pillar. They all have 4, but it was a great pit stop by Butler. Made up quite a few positions. If he can keep the likes of Heaney and Roberg behind him, you know, it's not going to be easy to do, but if he can keep him behind him for a little bit, that would help Bobby Blowers out quite a bit and help his own situation out quite a bit. We are coming to the green light.
Green, green, green.
And we are green. Can't really tell our jump here. Bad camera angle, but we do have Blowers gets a good jump. Binns not so much. Butler down on the inside gets a better jump than Binns. And Butler in the number 33 is going to be going really close to the inside of Binns. We got Blowers, Binns, Butler, all 1, 2, 3 here. Side by side for most of these cars. Blowers out front. Binns in second still. Miller up to third. Fantastic recovery from Miller after his wreck a few, I say a few laps ago, but it was probably about 15 laps ago. Roberg behind him. Binns there. Where did Butler go? Butler dropped back. What happened to Butler? Let's see what happens to Butler, because Heaney is now right on the bumper. See, Miller gets a good push on him right there, and passes him again here down the back straight. And Butler just on that inside. Yeah, he just kind of gets pushed off. He's not in anybody's draft. He's, like I said, it's just a little bit of draft. Not a huge amount, but enough to, you know, make it worthwhile to be in the slip of somebody. As we have Blowers up in front, no Miller in second, Binns in third, Roberg is in fourth, and Roberg's down on the inside. We had a little bit of a freeze up there. Not sure if you guys felt that too, but get our tower back up and going here. And Miller, once again, a huge recovery race here for Miller. He's up 1 spot from where he started, but he is up at least 10 spots from where he was probably about 10 laps ago. Ooh, a little bump on the wall. Miller getting a little squirrely. We hop on the gyro cam of Miller, and Miller, yeah, he's having a hard time right now with Binns on the outside. We're on board with Binns. You can see Miller right there. And here we go, Binns and Miller side by side. Going down the straightaway. And there's Miller as Binns. Binns only with those 2 tires. That's, you know, a little odd for me, but, you know, whatever. He's making it work right now. He's in third. Miller behind, and let's see Jason Heaney right behind them as well. Love the sound of these cars, but they are quite loud. Let's back it up a little bit. Do a little bit further away. Heaney closing the gap. Roberg catching back up to Bobby Blowers. With Binns leading this little pack of Miller, Heaney, Butler trying to hang on. And Buchanan up 2 spots from where he was. So this is going to be a huge stint of the race. 26 laps to go. But we should see pit stops around 15, 14, 13 laps to go. Somewhere in there, depending on how much fuel saving they're doing and how much tire saving they're doing. But this is our excitement right here. We have 4 drivers. 5 drivers, really. Pillar's right there too. All you know, fighting for that 3rd place spot. If I will say, if Butler can get another great stop like he did under the caution, if Butler can, you know, replicate that, that was a good couple seconds of time made up. And right now he is, if we go to Butler, he is 2.7 seconds back from Bobby Blowers, 2.8. So if he can get himself up, that would be fantastic. I just noticed we had car make up there on our timing tower and not actual times. What's the point of a timing ticker if you have car make instead of time? Put our tower up there. Number 33 getting pushed here by Bins. Bins dropping down. Miller and Heaney fighting. Really fighting, which is going to hurt their chances. Roberg and Blowers just pulling away from the rest of the pack. Heaney doing a really good job getting himself up into 3rd place. Heaney trying to break that little bit of a toe for Miller. Miller just staying in his line. Heaney goes down, comes back up. They said that draft will give you just a little bit of an edge on the person that you're following. We have Roberg and Blowers though right now. And Roberg's not letting Blowers get away. I would only imagine Heaney would be up there too if they didn't have a little bit of fighting going on there at the restart between Heaney, Miller, Butler, and Bins. Yeah, Blowers doing a fantastic job of keeping Roberg, you know, on the back foot. Blowers still taking that outside line, making that work for him. Heaney coming down into the pit lane early. Let's see. Heaney. Jason Heaney gets a black flag for speeding in the pits. He came into the pits too hot. Jason Heaney's going to get a black flag. Daniel Butler and Trevor Bins, all 3 teammates coming into the pits at once. But yeah, that's going to be a dagger in the heart for Jason Heaney there. It looks like he's the only one of the 3 that are going to have that penalty. And Butler and Bins going to get going again. Heaney getting left behind. That's unfortunate for Heaney. He was in 3rd place as we see our race leaders coming to that straightaway, and Heaney gonna look as they just fly on by. Unfortunate. Bins and Butler though, teammates are gonna try and push each other, see if an undercut here works. That might have been why Butler and Bins only took 2 tires earlier on. Or at least Bins did. Butler, they're thinking that they're going to be able to go 21 laps here. You just see that car just a little bit crooked there for Blowers. Roberg gonna maybe be able to take advantage of that. Blowers losing his rear. You can see just the tiniest bit. Roberg cuts in front of him and takes that little bit of a speed advantage away from Blowers. Blowers going way low. Wonder if he knows something that we don't. Trying to keep it down there in the marbles. You don't want to catch up to too many marbles. Mess up your grip on your wheels. Just picking up some rubber early. Ooh, and we have Roberg touching the wall just the tiniest bit. Doesn't seem to slow him down. Almost just reaching his little fingers out there, brushing the wall. It's the tiniest bit. And we have Miller kind of running on his own now. Buchanan up into fourth. Wow, what a run Buchanan's had. He's up 6 spots from where he started, but a recovery run here from Corey. Doing a fantastic job. We'll see how the pit stops turn out. Once again, we had Binns and Butler come in early. They're trying to go long on their second stint. A full tank of gas and some really nice tires on there now. And right now, Roberg leading us. Let's crank it up one more time. We're gonna watch these cars go on by. We'll probably follow Miller on the crank it up. Let's hear him. Be right back. And as we return, we have Corey Buchanan coming down into the pit lane. He's going to be doing a little bit earlier, doing that undercut. Not as severe as Binns and Butler, but an undercut nonetheless. Guimont coming in, Patrick Mitrovic's coming in. Corey and Patrick teammates. I'm not sure if David Guimont is teammates with them, but all three of them coming in, getting a pretty good stop. Let's double check, make sure nobody got a black flag there. Ooh, George Buck does get he had a meatball flag. George Buck had a meatball flag from that. Actually, from what? What was George Buck doing? He's got a meatball flag. Maybe he's smacking the wall a little too much. I don't see any incidents here for George. How does George go off track? Hold up. Let's see what we got here. Oh, we did have George. Ooh, just missed a little bit of an incident there. Wow. It wasn't too long ago. That was a few minutes ago George had that happen to him. It's going again. I'm not sure how he has a meatball flag, though, so we'll see. Curtis Rogers right now, though, in the pit lane, getting right tires done. See if he gets all four, if he's just doing a 2-tire pit stop. And it looks like he's getting all four. Martin Roberg coming down the straightaway. Roberg's still in first ahead of Blowers. But we do have Guimont coming in. Miller coming in with Guimont. And they are in two completely different sections of the pit lane. Guimont says, forget everybody else's pit boxes. I'm just going to drive through them all. Slides, gets into his pit box. Good stop there for Guimont. Don't know if Miller had a good one. Oh no, he slides past. Miller not having a great day. A lot of things going wrong for him, but he's still not in a bad spot. I believe he's still in fourth after everything's all said and done. Guimont might beat him out, actually. Guimont is a lap down from Noah Miller, however. Guimont might have gotten a speeding in the pits. Let's check. And yeah, he did. He got a black flag. Guimont in the pits. Like I said, this pit lane's a little tricky. Noah Miller trying to stay, you know, in front of the leaders. Doesn't want to go 2 laps down here. Or doesn't want to go a full lap down. Pop our tower up. 14 to go here at Pocono. Miller, the only one, or the farthest back that isn't a lap down. A lot of these drivers took a pit stop, and it put them that lap down. Buchanan 1 lap, Mitrovic's a lap, Rogers a lap. Heaney, Buck, and Guimont all a lap. Guimont 2 laps now because of that penalty. Roberg really closing in on Miller now. Flowers hanging in there with Roberg. Tommy Thompson currently in 4th. Greg Pillar in 3rd as it sits, but they will need to pit. Pop up our pit strategy here. Now Roberg, Blowers, and Pillar and Thompson all 22 laps on their current stint. Not sure if they're going to be able to go a whole lot longer than that. We're going to watch Roberg and Blowers coming to the front straight here in just a second. See if they decide to pull into the pit lane. Nope, they're gonna keep on going. They must have been saving some good fuel during these laps here, because that is quite insane for them to be able to keep going. 23 laps into the stint. That puts our assumptions that, who is it? Butler and Binns will be able to get their full stint done that they were looking to do, which was around 22 laps from when they pit to the end of the race. So we'll see if that undercut from Binns and Butler paid off, or if Roberg and Blowers are going to still be way ahead. We'll also look at their pit stops, Roberg and Blowers, to see just how well of a pit stop they get. Also keep an eye on the black flag. Wow, they're going 24 laps here on these tires. They're really pushing the boundaries of what they can do on a full tank of gas. I guess we did have a caution a little bit earlier, so that might have pushed them out a tiny bit, but I can't see them making up 10 laps worth of fuel. If so, you better check their cars for extra fuel tanks and see what's up, how they're able to go that long. But I don't think there's a possible way that these drivers are able to make up 10 laps. They're going to have to pit sometime soon. Let's go, Mr. Butler. Let's check in on Danny Butler and Trevor Binns. Butler there, teammate Binns a little way up. Let's see if their undercut works or not. Roberg and Blowers, when they do come into the pits, it's going to be really close. And we might have a little bit of bumping coming into the pits. If they don't, you know, brake at the exact same time, they're going to have a hard time. You see Blowers gives a little bit of room, and then maybe on purpose, maybe not. If he comes into the pits here, I bet you it was on purpose. And still no. Wow. Not quite sure how they're doing it. Thompson able to stay out as well. Tommy Thompson is on lap 25 of his stint, and he's into the pits. Pillar into the pits on lap 25 of his stint. So I don't know how these guys are able to save this fuel. I don't know where they're pulling it from. I was thinking probably around 22 to 24 laps would be like really pushing it. Roberg and Blowers are going to hope that they're not having to coast around the track to get where they need to. It looks like Pillar is in the... It looks like Pillar's in the pits. He is taking a really long time to get out of the pits. Here we go, Roberg and Blowers into the pit lane. And Roberg gets a black flag. Roberg, the race leader. Black flag for entering the pits too quickly. That is astonishing. Wow. Let's see how Blowers does on his pit stop. Oh, a little too far there for Roberg. A little too far for Roberg still. Blowers just getting fuel. And yeah, Roberg is just sitting there. Let's see how Benz fares. Coming up behind Blowers here. Blowers just gets fuel. 8 laps to go. Tires are really having a rough go. 27 laps right now for Blowers on those tires. Roberg dropping back 7th position. Going to be 8th position again here soon. Blowers going to have Benz getting by George Buck. George Buck is in 12th position, down a lap. But wow, that is crazy stuff there. Speeding in the pits for Roberg. Benz a little ways back. Butler a little ways back. But Benz and Butler made that undercut really work for him. Noah Miller 2 seconds back from Butler. Pillar 8 seconds back. So the undercut seems to have worked fairly well. It's just Blowers has an 8.5 second interval. It might come down a little bit, but I mean, they would have to make up a second a lap, more than the second a lap, Benz and Butler would, to catch on up to Blowers. Blowers did not take tires, he just took fuel, which saves him probably a handful of seconds, maybe 5-6 seconds. Which is just insane that he's able to keep up this pace. Trevor Benz in second, Daniel Butler in third, I believe. Unless anything crazy happens, Benz and Butler might be our other podium positions, but Miller is gonna try and get up to Butler. He has Guimont in between, Guimont being a lapped car, 2 laps down in that Fabricator X machine, number 66 there. Guimont's going to be helping Miller out ever so slightly. Give him a little bit of a draft going into the corner. He says, go on ahead, I'll stay low, you go high. Miller flies on by and is making his run for Daniel Butler in the final podium spot. Blowers still way up ahead. 8.5 seconds, holding fairly steady at that. Benz in second here. He's 3 seconds ahead of Butler, but Butler being closed in by Miller. And then we have Corey Buchanan is also running down Greg Pillar right now for a top 5 position. Corey Buchanan in that number 19 machine. And Greg Pillar in that number 39 machine. Corey, let's see what Corey Buchanan can do. Bobby Blowers still way out front, checking in. Trevor Benz still doing okay. And right now we have George Buck on the bumper of Noah Miller, or on the bumper of Daniel Butler. Noah Miller has another car to get by in order to get to Butler. And as we see Buchanan, he does get a pretty good move off here. Ooh, some trouble there from Greg Pillar. Buchanan up into a top 5 position and seeming to put a little bit of a gap behind Daniel Butler. Let's see, 4 to go. See if he's able to hold off Noah Miller for the moment. Nestor says, hold the line, Butler. Yeah, we are, nothing against Noah Miller. We love seeing Noah up on the podium like always, but Butler would be a new face on the podium. Oh, Noah's on the inside. Daniel Butler hanging on best he can. But Miller just has a little bit more grip than Butler. It looked like Butler was a little wiggly coming out of a couple of the corners there. Noah Miller getting so wide, he's just touching that wall just ever so slightly, just the tiniest little bit. Running that line near perfect. Very hard for Butler to, you know, try and keep up with that. Butler on a little bit older tires than Miller, and Miller, you know, just making his newer tires last and perform a little bit better than Butler's. That long run, this is where you're going to see that performance drop, is right now. Miller might be trying to run for Bins, but Bins is 3 seconds ahead. Miller, better tires. But it should be able to make it work. Bobby Blowers just cruising along, making his way to the end of the race. Still putting up a gap on Trevor Bins somehow, some way. But Miller is trying to melt these tires off of the car. You see, he's pushing. He almost had a little bit of a kick out there. 2 laps to go. Flowers is about 19 seconds ahead of Miller here. But Bins, that's his target right there. Bins is 2.7 seconds back, or ahead of Miller. Trevor Bins 3 positions up from where he started in 4th, but Bins is going to be looking for a good podium spot here. His teammate Daniel Butler, you know, kind of had to give up that spot there in 4th. He's starting to see some tire wear. Ooh, Noah Miller. Let's see Daniel Butler if he can make something happen here. Daniel Butler behind Miller. That gap closes down. Miller doing it again. He's pushing his car entirely too hard. Those tires are gonna be scorching hot. Last lap here. Butler could make a move happen if Miller loses his rear end again like that. I think just one little loss, you know, isn't going to kill Miller, but if he does it again, that could be the end. There's no reason to push at this point. Flowers looks like he's sitting still with how our camera angle is here. But Flowers coming down the back straight here. We're gonna watch Blowers as he comes up to the front stretch. Ooh, almost loses it. You see him steering back and forth. Very happy winner of Pocono here in the Octane Outlaws Week 7. Trevor Bins comes across in 2nd. Noah Miller in 3rd. Daniel Butler in 4th. Corey Buchanan still heading to the finish line in 5th. Greg Pillar shortly behind him. Mitrovic shortly behind him in 7th. And then a few seconds behind Mitrovic's in 7th, we'll have Tommy Thompson. See Curtis Rogers coming up here. Pretty neat camera angle here. A little bit of drone footage. As Roberg slams into the wall, not happy with himself with that pit stop violation that puts Roberg back into 10th. Blowers, Bins, Miller, Butler finish. And we're going to watch Blowers. Let's see what cool cameras we can get here. And there it goes. Bobby Flowers' engine blows. And that's going to be all the celebrating he does. Great race here. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic run from Blowers and Roberg. Roberg getting that penalty really, hurting himself. Right now, we have our winner with Bobby Blowers. Trevor Binns in second, Noah Miller in third, Daniel Butler in fourth, Corey Buchanan in fifth, George Pillar in sixth, Patrick Mitrovic in seventh, Tommy Thompson in eighth, Curtis Rogers in ninth, Martin Roberg in 10th, Jason Heaney in 11th, George Buck in 12th, David Guimont in 13th, and Raymond Mull Sr. He comes around in 14th after a bad race for him. Only 75, or he didn't even start the race. Not sure what happened. He's 75 laps down. He might not have had something to say about this race, but grab ourselves some guys for interviews here. I'm gonna grab Bobby Blowers, the race winner. See what he has to say. Bobby, do I got you down there in the the pit lane?
Sure do.
Well, you don't have an engine left. You blew it up there, but up until that point, you ran that thing like it was meant to be the entire race. You were out front almost the entire time, and only Roberg really giving you a little bit of contention there at some points, but Roberg getting a penalty at that last green pit stop. What was going through your mind when you pulled away and he didn't follow?
Honestly, I was disappointed because me and him were having a hell of a battle that whole last stage and even before then, and I was really hoping we could battle that out at the end, but I hate it for him because he was really good too. I wish we could have had a good battle there at the end.
Yeah, unfortunate that we didn't get to see a fight coming up at the end there. It was really, like I said, it was a great battle the entire race. We were able to see quite a bit of, back and forth and back and forth. What was your strategy to try and keep Roberg at bay?
Honestly, I didn't really have one. I was gonna make a plan, probably 2 to go. And honestly, it fell into my lap with him getting the penalty. I feel bad for him, but I will take a win.
Yep, a win is a win. We will be going over to where are we at next? Bristol next. So short track. Will we see you on the podium again there at Bristol? How do you feel about Bristol?
Well, last season I ended up winning that thing, so I'm gonna try to reclaim that crown.
Yeah, we're hoping to see you on the podium again. It's always great talking with you. Bobby, do you have any shout outs that you want to give before we let you go for the night?
Yeah. Martin for working with me there. He's a teammate. Orlando Outlaws, the team. 213simware.com for merch. And Blink Designs, which is kind of new. That's my design deal. Hit me up if you want a good design, replica on just about anything. I can do stock cars, short track, open wheel, basically whatever.
Awesome. Well, you heard him. If anybody wants some designs, hit up Mr. Blowers here, and get in touch and get yourself a new wrap for your car. We will let you be, Bobby. Go celebrate with the team. Yeah, we hope to see you again next week at Bristol. Maybe another win in the books.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everybody. That was Bobby Blowers, our race winner. We are going to be grabbing Trevor Binns. Trevor, do I have you down there in the number 3 machine?
Yes, sir. I'm here with.
All right. So, Trevor, second place. Great job. Getting that second place. You were 8 seconds back from Bobby. Bobby at the end there did not take tires. You guys took a full set of tires on your planned pit stop. That kind of put a little bit of a gap between you and Bobby, but it was a great undercut that you guys pulled. Looked like you and your teammate Daniel Butler and Jason Heaney All three of you guys came in together. Heaney unfortunately getting that time penalty for coming in too fast. What was going through your mind as you guys came out of the pit lanes without one of your teammates?
Pedal to the metal. That's the fastest we went. Couldn't really make no mistakes. The leaders were close behind us, so it was really just qualifying laps. As the green flag stops came, we just had to keep going and going. And I was hoping Bobby took 2 tires at the last pit stop and maybe had a chance, but he outsmarted it and he got out in front and stayed out there. But definitely great pit strategy from all of our teammates, especially Jason. That was a good pit call. But definitely want to shout that out. But yeah, I'm glad I can finally start feeling good about racing in the next gen, starting to get more comfortable and just hoping for results like this. Keep coming.
Yep, second place is nothing to shake your head at. Great job, great finish for the team. Daniel Butler only a couple spots behind you, and I can only imagine if you had Jason up there with you, you guys would have made a little bit of a wall there so Noah couldn't sneak that third position, and would have had at least 2 cars on the podium for the team. So unfortunate for that penalty for Jason, but still some great team points with you and Daniel. I'll let you go ahead and celebrate with the team, but before I let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
I want to give a shout out to you for broadcasting it, Octane Outlaws, my girlfriend, my friends, Jason, Daniel Butler, and that's about it. But yeah, man, thank you.
Yep. Oh, no problem. We love putting on the broadcast. You guys put on a good show on track, so it makes it easier for us to cover all the action. But we'll let you go celebrate with the team. It was great talking with you, Trevor. And we hope to see you again up here coming up in Bristol. We hope to see you on the podium again, man.
Yeah, sir. I hope so too. This is my first like little interview in all my leagues that I've been in this season so far. So yeah, this is great. Have a good night.
Yeah, we hope to see you again. Have a great night, and go celebrate with the team.
You as well.
All right, there was Trevor Binns. Does not look like we have Noah Miller anywhere in our... It does not look like we have him anywhere in our broadcast booth waiting room. So for Noah, we'll just want to do a little shout out. Great job, Noah, getting a 3rd place position, especially after wrecking a little bit earlier in the race and having to go to the pits. Wasn't a full wreck, but still hard to recover from something like that. Fantastic job. We hope to see you in Bristol up on the podium so we can talk then. But great week 7 here from the Octane Outlaws here at Pocono. The May Madness 187 done and dusted, all finished up. We'll pop our results back on the screen here. Oh, we already have them up. Bobby Blowers in 1st, Trevor Binns in 2nd, Noah Miller in 3rd, Daniel Butler in 4th, Corey Buchanan in 5th. Corey, great shout out for you. Great recovery as well. Miller and Buchanan, both big recovery races. Greg Pillar in 6th, Patrick Mitrovic in 7th, Tommy Thompson in 8th, Curtis Rogers in 9th, Martin Roberg in 10th, Jason Heaney in 11th, suffering that pit road speeding penalty. George Buck in 12th, David Guimont in 13th, Raymond Mull did not complete a lap. Roberg and Heaney both 10th and 11th. Go practice those pit stops, guys. You guys would have had some fantastic top 3 finishes, but those pit stops got you. So go practice those pit stops. Get them down. We'll see you guys in Bristol, and we hope to see all of you that are out there. If you guys haven't already, hit the subscribe button. You guys can see all of the Octane Outlaws action here on WA Broadcasting. Until then, we will see you in Bristol next